freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, religious freedom, equality between men and women, rule of law. That's what it means to celebrate British values. At Project Mosaic, we are, without any sense of embarrassment, seeking to challenge different types of group hatred. We want to challenge the people who say, I hate all Muslims, I hate all Jews, or I hate all infidels, or I hate all Britons, all Americans, all Israelis, all immigrants, all black people. I hate all white working class Englishmen. We challenge these group hatreds. We feel that any type of group hatred based on nationality, ethnicity, color, gender, religion, it introduces a poison into society. And when you combine that with ignorance and fear, it's a contagious poison and very dangerous. We are seeking in our own small way, in our own humble way, to tackle head-on a movement of violent extremism. It's a small minority of people who were responsible for 9/11. They call themselves Muslim. My Muslim friends say, Kat, these people are not Muslim. They're violating the basic tenets of Islam. But it only takes a few people these days. In fact, your average bright teenager, 3 16-year-olds could take out Canary Wharf tomorrow. In an age of democratized access to technology and the internet, we have to speak out, because you don't need a lot of people to create devastating death and destruction. We want to get very stuck in with young people about what it means to be angry, what it means to want to change society. The group of the movement of violent extremism that we're addressing is an apocalyptic and nihilistic movement. It's a movement that says, I am angry, I feel that there is injustice against my people, and so I will kill your child, and I will kill your husband, and I will kill your daughter to make my point. We completely reject that solution. And we want to talk about it. We want to talk about it with young people. Of course, Project Mosaic, although it's in memory of my cousin Dave, it's not just about 9/11. Think about 2003 and the terrorist attacks. Riyadh, Casablanca, Mumbai, Istanbul. Think back to 2004, Baghdad, Mosul, Karbala, Moscow, Belsen, Quetta, Madrid, the Sinai. 2005, the London bombings, Delhi, 2006, 2007, Mumbai, Baghdad, Algiers, the list goes on and on. Interesting to note, the largest religious group that has suffered death and maiming in all of these terrorist attacks has been the Muslim community. And we find that unacceptable. There were two conversations in 2008 that, for me, tipped the balance and made me decide that, although I'm running a business, I'm the mother of 2 teenagers and have various other things going on, I wanted to become involved and to set up this charity. The first conversation was with a young British Muslim friend who is normally fairly quiet. He doesn't come across as politicized. He's a very successful entrepreneur, very busy with his wife, raising their family and running his business. But when I told him about this idea, instead of just saying, that's quite a good idea, Kat, good luck, instead he said, you must do this, Kat. You must do this. It's an imperative. And I was quite taken aback. And I said, well, I think I will do it, but why are you reacting so strongly? He said, Kat, I live and work in London, I'm a Londoner, I know so many angry young Muslim British men. And it's a really dangerous situation because they are filled with energy and drive and they want to make a difference. And if we don't help channel that energy, it's going to go the wrong way. The other conversation that tipped the balance for me It was a conversation I had in New York with my aunt. And my aunt, Tony Fontana, Dave Fontana was her son. And she's 83, a bit frail now. She's my dad's only sibling. And I had to ask for her permission and her blessing to set up the charity. It's in memory of her son. And she said to me, I think this is a wonderful idea. And Dave would have really loved it. It's just his kind of thing he would have wanted us to do. She's a very devout, Roman Catholic, very loving woman, but she said, Kat, I have to warn you. You're not going to get the response you want from the other family members that lost the other 342 firemen on September 11. I said, what do you mean? She said, I know these people. They have become like my family because we've come together in support groups. She said, some of them have been so filled with a sense of black rage that their response is, I know what to do about the Muslim extremist movement, kill all the Muslims. And I said to her, well, I've met some of those people. These are working class people, Americans of Irish-Italian background, living in Long Island. The fact that they would say that means we have to do this. So there are different constituencies that we're looking to talk to. I had one conversation with one of the moms who had told my aunt that. I think we should kill all the Muslims. At the end of a 3-minute conversation with her, she had done 180 degrees and said, you know what, Kat, you're right, this is a really good idea. I didn't even do a hard sell. Final couple of thoughts. I know that several of the panelists are journalists, have been journalists. I used to be a journalist in my youth. And there are a lot of people engaged at the moment in the UK, across Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia, in the Americas, doing some amazing work in this area. But many of them have said, we can't get in the news. We can't get media coverage. Extremists, blow something up, blow themselves up, they get all the headlines. But no one wants to write a story about this grassroots movement, which is big, and it's very powerful. And what I say to them is, as a former journalist, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, because when I used to be a wire service journalist, and we both used to work at Reuters, I understand, if I am sitting in a news bureau, and the news comes in about something I need to report on. A bomb went off in Paris yesterday, killing 10 people, the police said. That is a story that writes itself. It's immediate, it's urgent, there are dead people, you have to write it. The story about the grassroots movement that we're talking about here is more subtle, it's more nuanced. And you're going to have to interview more than one person to write the story. In fact, you're going to have to talk with a lot of people because it's about analyzing a big grassroots movement and talking with many people. So what I say to various people working with different charity groups is, don't worry too much about the media coverage. Do the work on the ground, make it matter, change people's thinking, change the conversation, capture people's imagination, and the media eventually will follow. The last point I wanted to make is about the role of men and women. I'm always worried when people say, men create problems, women solve problems, because I'm married to a man. I have 2 teenage boys. They're all wonderful. I don't think they're flawed, genetically or biologically. And I think it's always dangerous, to stereotype and say, women are the peacemakers and men are, troublemakers. Thank you. I was going to say something worse. But I have noticed there are often 2 ways of approaching problems, well, such as terrorism. There's the approach, the finger-pointing approach, the blaming game. When people say, well, why is this happening? It's the government's fault. What is the government not doing? What is the national government not doing? What are the MPs doing? Why? It's the police's fault. It's someone's fault. Got to find someone to blame. And then there's another approach, which is the people who roll up their sleeves and say, you know what, it doesn't really matter, because that's water under the bridge, it's already happened. What can we do to make things better. And I don't think women have a virtue on monopoly, but I do often find that men will tend to be more seduced by getting into a kind of verbal punch-up about whose fault it is. Whereas sometimes, you know, women who are a bit busy, too many jobs, too many kids to raise, too much going on, they just say, oh, all right, I'll roll up my sleeves and try to just do my little bit and muck in there and see if I can make a difference. I think I should stop there. Thank you very much.